What's good, everyone? Great to be back on the Mayo Media Network. My name's Griffin Swanson, and I'm here to talk some NHL DFS with you. Now, we're going to focus in on that 4-game slate for Saturday, but before we dive into my favorite line stacks and individual plays, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button to the Mayo Media Network. And hey, if you want, check out their content on the Apple Pods as well. If you're feeling up for it, leave a 5-star review. And hey, are you familiar with Prize Picks? I just started playing myself, and it's pretty damn fun and really easy to play as well. Basically, here's how it works. What Prize Picks does is they lay out a handful of players for a particular slate and assign a fantasy score to each one of these players. Now, you're going to bet the over or the under on that fantasy score. And here's how they can rack up points. 3 points for a goal, 2 points for an assist, half a point for a shot on net, and half a point for blocking a shot. That's it. Pretty straightforward. So all you need to do is bet the over or bet the under on their fantasy score. So I have 2 picks for the Saturday slate. The first being Matthew Barzal, 3.6 fantasy points. I'm going to take the over on that against the Pittsburgh Penguins. This guy's really started to heat up here over the last handful of games, but what I really like about him is he's shooting the puck a lot more. Naturally, he's a playmaker, so assists are always going to be in his wheelhouse, but being that he's shooting the puck a little bit more too makes me want to take the over at 3.6 points. The other guy I'm going to take is Clayton Keller at 2.4 points. I'm going to take the over on that as well. Now, if it were 2.6 points, I'd probably just fade the pick overall, but 2.4 points, there's a lot of different ways that he can get there. That's 1 assist and 1 shot on net or a block shot. If he gets 5 shots on net, which isn't really his bread and butter, he would still get there though, but I just think 2.4 is too low. He hasn't started the season that hot. He has 2 goals and 2 assists in his first 10 games, but still playing anywhere from 14 to 18 minutes per night. I think he gets enough opportunity in this game against the Blues to go over 2.4 points. So Prize Picks, check it out. Really fun and really easy to use. We got a link in the description below if you want to sign up. And hey, use code MMN to get a $100 match deposit as well. All right, so let's dive into my picks here. As always, just want to mention I do list out the highest implied game totals here in the top left-hand corner. Being that it's just a 4-game slate here, went ahead and listed out all 4 games. You can see a couple games there, got some shootout potential. 2 games projected to be a little more low scoring. So keep an eye on that. Then we have the highest implied Vegas odds here as well, basically breaking down the top 4 teams with the best odds to win on Saturday night. But with that being said, let's hop into my favorite line stacks here for Saturday. First line I got there is that first line out of Toronto. We got Austin Matthews centering Mitch Marner and Zach Hyman. Now, Matthews and Marner have been on an absolute tear as of late. Really over the last 8 games, Matthews is on an 8-game point streak. Marner has points in 7 of the last 8 games. But look at that note I have off to the right-hand side. These guys have combined for 14 goals and 13 assists, 27 points during that 8-game stretch. That is absolutely ridiculous numbers. And I'm going to go back to them once again here against the Vancouver Canucks, who are allowing 3.96 goals per game to opponents to start the season, the second most in the NHL. Now, Zach Hyman is a bit of an outlier on this line here, especially considering the way Matthews and Marner are playing. Hyman is just not up to that level, but at $4,700 on a 4-game small slate like this, I am willing to justify Hyman in this position. Now, if you just want to stack up Matthews and Marner together, that 100% makes sense. I'm telling you, these guys have been lights out together. But if you want to add Hyman, I think it does make sense. He's playing big minutes right now, getting a lot of ice time with Matthews and Marner. He doesn't play on the first power play with these guys, but he does play on the second power play. So again, you don't need to go there, but I am willing to justify it at $4,700. He did have an assist last game. Like I said, not keeping up with Matthews and Marner on the score sheet, but the opportunity is certainly there. So again, not afraid to go there against the Canucks. The next line stack I like here is going to be that first line for the Islanders. We got Matthew Barzal centering Anders Lee and Josh Bailey. So Josh Bailey just recently got put on this first line here on the right wing. Got off to a really slow start for the winger. Adding him to this first line in his first game there, had 1 goal and 1 assist, 25.5 DraftKings points. I'm not suggesting he's going to get 25 points again, but nice to see that when he was playing with these guys, he kind of started finding his game again. And at $3,500, that's a very reasonable price for him. Even Barzal at 72 and Anders Lee at 65, not that expensive. Certainly justifiable, and we can get there on this 4-game slate. I mean, we can pay out for forwards, defensemen, goalie. DraftKings really just didn't have any crazy pricing on this slate. But with that being said, I like this line here against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Barzal's on a 4-game point streak right now, shooting the puck a lot more as well, and he's kind of one of those guys that goes on a roller coaster when it comes to shooting the puck. He'll go on a 2-3 game stretch where he only has 3 shots total, and then the next game he'll have 9. So I like to see the consistency as of late. It's been closer to 3-4 shots a game. When he does that, he ends up on the score sheet, and this is one of the best playmakers in the game as well. So playing with Lee, who is a goal scorer, and Josh Bailey, who's starting to find his game here a little bit, or at least did last game, I like going with these guys. Now, Anders Lee, he's kind of been slow himself to start the season. Barzal's really been the only one that's been consistent on this line here. But Anders Lee is shooting the puck a lot, has at least 4 shots in the last 3 games. He continues to do that. He's going to find the back of the net. Big body guy, sits out in front of the net on the power play. Both him and Barzal are playing on that first power play, so they link up there as well. Now, Bailey playing on that second power play, but getting enough ice time with these guys to where I'm willing to justify it, especially at $3,500. That's super cheap. And I also want to mention that this Islanders team has had the Penguins number over the past couple of years, really ever since they beat them in the playoffs 2 years ago. They've kind of had their numbers. They didn't just beat, they swept the Penguins in that series. Penguins are beat up on the back end right now. I know Chris Letang is traveling with the team, but I don't know if he's even going to play in this game. So Penguins depleted at defense. They're giving up 3.7 goals per game as it is to start the season. Plus, the Islanders kind of have their number. I like this matchup for the Islanders against the Pens. All right, now hopping on down here to my favorite individual plays. We're going to kick it off with the forwards there, and the first guy I want to highlight, Connor McDavid. Now, this might come as no surprise, the best forward or best player on the slate, but he's only $8,600 here, and yes, $8,600 is expensive, but if you recall, it's a guy who was $9,000 in his last game. So we're getting Connor at a discount here, in my opinion. Make sure you keep an eye out for those things. Anytime you can get a discount on a player like McDavid, you want to be firing them in your lineup. Now, with that being said, I like the matchup here against the Calgary Flames anyways. I definitely think this game could turn into a bit of a shootout. You can see the implied total there at 6.5 goals, but Connor McDavid is pretty much matchup proof at this point anyway, has 24 points to start the season in 12 games, averaging 21 DraftKings points. I prefer him over Draisaitl at $8,200, but I'm fine with going with both of these guys as well if you want to pair them together or even play them with a guy like Tyson Barrie on the blue line. So McDavid, the best player we'll see on the ice Saturday night. $8,600 is still a price I'm willing to pay. This is a guy that can get on the score sheet every single night and can also put up multiple points. Next guy I got there, Johnny Gaudreau, Johnny Hockey, $5,700. This is a guy who was on a 9-game point streak to start the season. He was finally held off the score sheet last game in his 10th game, but he has 5 goals, 6 assists, 11 points in his first 10 games, playing big minutes on the top power play. Any player that starts the season on a 9-game point streak should be more than $5,700, especially when you're playing 18 plus minutes a night on that top line and on that top power play. So in my opinion, I think DraftKings got this pricing wrong. Definitely think he should be in the 6K range. Again, I really like this matchup against the Oilers. The Oilers are not afraid to give up goals. A lot of their games this year have turned into high scoring affairs, and I think we could see that here in this matchup against the Flames. So sign me up for McDavid and sign me up for some Johnny Hockey. Now, if you want to pivot away from that first line in Toronto, which could be very popular on this slate, I like that second line for Toronto as well, particularly William Nylander and Jonathan Tavares, but Nylander's a guy that I want to highlight here at $5,500. This guy's been really good to start the season, has 4 goals, 8 assists, 12 points in his first 11 games on a 3-game point streak right now, and actually had 3 points in his last game against the Canucks. So if you want to pivot away from Matthews and Marner, I like Tavares and Nylander too, but at Nylander's price, $5,500 for a guy that's had 12 points in 11 games, sign me up for that. Really like this matchup against the Canucks. I already talked about how many goals the Canucks have given up to start this season, so really anybody in that top 6 for Toronto I do like, but I think you'll see that first line carry more ownership, so a nice way to pivot away from that is to the second line with Nylander and Tavares. And then the last forward I got there, JT Miller at $5,300, playing on that first line and first power play in Vancouver, and he's playing with some talented forwards as well, Elias Pettersson and Brock Besser. Now, that line just hasn't gelled to start the season. They have good games and then they have bad games, but JT Miller has been the most consistent forward on that top line, has 3 goals, 10 assists in his first 10 games, has points in 5 of his last 6 games, so I'm not afraid to go there. I do think this line is going to figure it out, and we're going to want to stack them up later in the season. They were great all of last season, great in the playoffs, but Petey and Besser is riding a bit of a roller coaster right now. Have a great game one game and then just don't play all that great the next. So, gonna go with JT Miller here. He has been the most consistent, and $5,300 for a guy that has 13 points in his first 10 games. I want some exposure to that for sure. Moving on over to the defenseman here. First guy I want to highlight, Tyson Barrie. This dude has really started to click with this Oilers team over the past 3 games. He has 1 goal and 8 assists, 9 points to start the season, but 6 of those points have come in the past 4 games. Playing on that top power play unit once again, playing with guys like McDavid and Draisaitl, you're going to get opportunity to get on the score sheet, and that's what Barrie has done here as of late. Just look like a more comfortable player on this team. Now, anytime any player moves to a new team, there's going to be an adjustment period. We saw that with Barrie, but again, he really has started to click with these guys over the past 3 games, and his price is starting to reflect that here at $5,900. Wasn't just a couple of weeks ago we could pay in the low 4K range for this guy, but it reflects his play as well. Like I said, he's been really good over the past 4 games, and I want to ride that out here against the Calgary Flames. Next guy there, Noah Dobson, continues to get more ice time with this Islanders team. Yes, he's young, he's a rookie, but he's playing on that top power play unit right now. $4,500 is justifiable. He's playing around or floating around anywhere from 18 to 22 minutes. There will be the outlier game where he only gets 15, 16 minutes, but honestly, at $4,500 here on a 4-game slate, this guy's getting enough opportunity to where I will go there. And again, I really do like this matchup here against the Pittsburgh Penguins. And then the last guy there, John Marino, speaking of Penguins, $3,100 here. This is a kid who came on last year as a rookie and blew a lot of people out of the water, me included. I knew he was a good player, but he played great last year. Now, he hasn't translated that play over this year. He's been good, but he hasn't been great, particularly on the offensive side of the puck. He's still been very good defensively, but now that Chris Letang is out, John Marino should run that top power play. So just keep an eye on that. Letang is day-to-day, and he could very well play in this game, but if not, Marino will be the guy to run that top power play unit with Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Jake Gensel, Brian Rust. I mean, guys that can bury the puck. Marino only has 1 point, 1 assist in his first 10 games, but I think that's bound to change, especially if he continues playing on this top power play unit in Pittsburgh. And then my favorite goalie play on this slate is going to be Semyon Varlamov. No, the Islanders don't have the best odds to win on this slate. In fact, they have the 4th best odds at -110. The Penguins are at -105, so this game's kind of a coin flip. But I've mentioned a couple times already that the Islanders have had the Penguins number over the past couple of years. I do like the Isles playing at home in what could be a low-scoring game. I'm not going to bet on it. You just never know with these games out east, but just based off of the way that we've seen these two teams play in the past, I suspect it will be low scoring. Islanders love to play that defensive style game that Barry Trotz brought over from Washington, and Pittsburgh struggled against it. So I like Varlamov here. Like I said, they don't have the best odds to win, but it could be a low scoring game where Varlamov sees a lot of shots and racks up a lot of DraftKings points. And then the last segment of this video here, that low priced option or sub 4K forward play. We're going to highlight Tanner Pearson here on this slate, $3,700. That second line winger for the Vancouver Canucks, playing with Bo Horvat and Niles Höglander. So this guy started to heat up here over the last 7 games. I'm surprised he's not above 4K yet. Nah, he doesn't play 18 to 20 minutes like a lot of those top forwards do, but he's anywhere from 14 to 18 minutes, plays on that second power play, and like I said, he's really started to heat up here over the past 7 games, has 4 goals and 2 assists, and he started to shoot the puck more as well. He actually has 5 shots on net in back-to-back games, and when you hit that 5-shot bonus, you get those 3 additional DraftKings points, so love when guys are shooting the puck, and it's resulting in goals for this guy as well. Pearson's one of those guys that gets streaky in the NHL, and he's on a hot streak right now for him. You know, he's not going to be one of those guys that puts up a point per game every single night, but a guy that has 6 points in his last 7 games at $3,700, yeah, I definitely want some exposure to that. All right, everyone, that's going to wrap up this video here. Thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the Mayo Media Network. Let's have a great day. Let's win some money tonight. I'm out of here.